Scary. Yeah. Yeah, that's a long story.
I don't know.
So you're
Planning on the
We
platform?
always had a good time. It's hard to get serious.
I guess.
I thought you were black.
Damn. That's all right.
Let's everybody stand and do our little John Denver song. Kind of wakes everybody up. Welcome to my morning. Welcome to my day. Yes, I'm the one responsible. I made it just this way to make myself some pictures, see what they might bring. I think I made it perfectly. I wouldn't change a thing. La la la. La 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 la. La la la. La 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 la. Welcome to my happiness. You know it makes me smile, and it pleases me to have you here for just a little while we open up the spaces, try to break some chains, and if the truth is told, we will never come again. La la la. La 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 la. La la la. La 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 la. Welcome to my morning. Welcome to my day. Yes, I'm the one responsible. I made it just this way to make myself some pictures, see what they might bring. I think I made it perfectly. I wouldn't change a thing. La la la. La 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 la. La la la. La 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 la. Good morning, welcome. Thank you, Sally and Jamie, for opening the service with song. How lovely. Okay, we have a bit of cloud cover out there, but I'm still holding out that we'll get a sun break in the afternoon.
I believe you're correct.
It could happen.
It will or it won't.
Is there anybody with us for the very first time today? We're all returnees. Wonderful. Glad to see your faces. Okay. We're going to have a little bit more music, and then we'll get on with things. In the silence I can feel the love. In the silence I can rise above. In the silence I can hear the voice. In the silence I am home. In the silence I can feel the love. In the silence I can rise above. In the silence I can hear the voice. In the silence I am home.
They look so real.
Well, welcome again, everybody. I see a couple people just walked in. Are you with us for the first time today, or have you been with us before? One of you has. Did you get a red heart? The person that's new? Okay. Do we have an usher handy that could give the lady a red heart, please?
Okay. You're two or one? One. Two, they're small. This came out.
So what the Red Heart is all about is we have what we call the Red Heart Welcome. If you're new today at Unity of Bremerton, we welcome you in the spirit of love. We want you to know that no matter where you are on your journey of faith, you're always welcome here. We know this place is a better place when we're able to and willing to share our hearts. We give you this heart as a symbol of the steadfast spirit that lives within each one of us, and we ask you to carry this as a symbol of a member of the Red Heart Fellowship. Let it be a reminder that the love of God is always with you, and to share your heart wherever you go. The Red Heart, as a symbol of fellowship in the world, can spread love one heart at a time. Let's start the movement here. And for those of you who are visiting with us today for the first time, we also want you to know that we have a variety of speakers. It changes weekly. So please join us a couple more times at least to find out what's going on here at West Sound Unity, Bremerton Unity. And welcome, welcome. Okay, just mention that Sundays they don't happen by accident. So we have a team of people that help with that make it as wonderful as it is. So as you've seen, our musicians today are Sally and Jamie. And our guest speaker today is Reverend Joanna Gabriel. We'll be hearing more from her shortly. Our board member of the week is Ann. Our ushers are Ann and Cindy. And our chaplain of the day is Marilyn Carlson, waving her hand. Okay, our youth ed champion is Joyce. And our hospitality hosts are Laura and Mary Ellen. And Spick and Span Angels, that's all of us. So when we do have our fellowship time following the service, coffee and goodies, if you could help with, sweeping away crumbs and straightening the chairs, things like that, that would be much appreciated. And our technology director for audio, visual, and the computer and live streaming is Mark Swink. Thank you, Mark. So wonderful. You're welcome to come in. You can have a seat. Okay. All right, wonderful. All right. So a few announcements. Most of them are in your bulletin, but next Sunday is going to be a very special day. And I'm sure the board member of the week is going to talk about that extensively, but I'll just mention we have a candidate to be minister. And this person is speaking next week. His name is Reverend Larry Henson, and there's going to be a taco bar lunch. And then, let's see, things coming up during the week. We have, of course, our Course in Miracles study group on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. All are welcome if you would like to attend that. Also on June 17th, there's going to be a workshop with Reverend Felicia Searcy following the service. And coming up on June 23rd, there's going to be a family fun night, 6 to 9 p.m. That usually involves board games and snacks and laughter and hilarity. So if you don't like laughter and hilarity, just don't come. But if you would like to participate and have fun, I think there's a sign-up sheet out in the, just to let us know a head count so we have everything prepared for you. So if you think you'd like to come, please sign up and let us know. Okay, our board member of the week has a report for us. It is Ann, or it's Cindy, because we're flexible.
Exactly. It's supposed to be in, but we just wing it anyway. All right, so it's annual membership renewal time. Last Monday, all current members who have email addresses should have received the form by email. We have copies on the table out front, so if you weren't able to print it from the email, they're out there. Please fill them out and just turn them in like on the ledge at the office. We have to verify your membership at least 6 weeks in advance of any meeting that would require a vote. So this will be done in plenty of time. We'd like to have this all done by the end of June. So out on the table. Like Debbie just said, we've got that good news. We've got Reverend Larry Henson coming next weekend. So we do encourage everybody who can possibly be here next weekend to be here. We will have a ministerial candidate evaluation form that everybody will be able to, provide your feedback, and you'll have an opportunity after he talks to get to know them and talk with them and spend some time with them. So we're looking forward to it. He actually arrives in the Bremerton area Thursday, and we're going to be, meeting with him and touring and showing off how beautiful the Pacific Northwest is, and showing what a welcoming community we really are, because we are. Let's see. Last Sunday, we had our first non-minister Sunday. As the board had mentioned, it's one of our kind of cost-saving measures to bring things together. And it was our very first one, so it was a little experimental, and it was really good. We had some glitches, but we got some wonderful feedback. So thank you, everyone that took the time to fill out the feedback forms. We are reviewing them. We may even see if anybody wants to participate on the committee to help plan those non-minister days for those events. We did find out, and those that were here learned that what the experience is like watching a live stream. There were some glitches, there was some interruption, but it wasn't on our part, it was actually on their part. And so we've asked the people that watch us, like Tracy has watched us, and George and Lois have watched us, a couple of others. Does that ever happen when you're watching us? Or, oh no, we're good. Shoot. But you know what it's like from the spectator's point of view. So that was really kind of cool. But we got some great suggestions. Please keep that coming. It's about all of us. And that's how we make things happen, is by you letting us know your thoughts and likes and dislikes. Okay, so thank you very much for that. And speaking of live streaming, you know that we are. So please try to keep the conversation down, because the mic does pick up the conversation, especially during the candle lighting and paper burning, all that good stuff. Prayer request forms are on the back of the seats. You can fill those out, put them in the box, put them in the offertory bag. Chaplains will take care of all that for you. We've got sign-up sheets on the fellowship table. If you want to sign up for the e-blast newsletter, if you're not already getting that, we provide a lot of good information about what's going on or what's coming up in that e-blast newsletter. So if you get email and you want that, please sign up. Unity of North Kitsap has a weekly meditation on Thursday, June 7th at 7 p.m. Prayer and meditation around one large community drum. Remember the biblical verse, when two or more are gathered in his name. Yes, magical things can occur when we gather together. Come just as you are, with a desire to express the prayers of your heart. Through the amplification of togetherness as one, our invocations can multiply exponentially. Join Walter Mahler in the Fellowship Hall at Faith Episcopal in Polsbo. And we have the 25th Annual Day of Caring coming up on Friday, June 22nd. I've been coordinating this event for the last, this will be our third time. So if you're interested, if you're available during the day on Friday, June 22nd, it's the United Way Kitsap one big day where a bunch of the local businesses and whatnot that need extra help kind of throw it all out there, and it's really a great community event. We've had a good time doing it the last couple of years. And I try to find something that can accommodate all kinds of skill sets or physical challenges and whatnot. It was a little bit harder this year, but because most of it's weeding and gardening and painting and physical stuff, and some of us are like, oh, really? So I found one that wasn't quite so strenuous, because I've been doing enough of that at home recently. So, but I'll have a sign-up sheet on the board if you're interested, or on the fellowship table, and we'll get that going. And it's actually merchandising and organizing and color coordinating for the Goodwill in Silverdale.
Oh, fun.
I know, right?
Yeah, right.
So, we just have to control ourselves and, not say, oh, I'll keep this. And no, we're going to do all that. It's going to be a great time. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, please see a board member. Thanks.
Just noticed your notes here, and I was thought, is that for me? No, it's for you. Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Okay, it's time to light the Christ candle now. This represents the Christ light within each one of us that we get to share with the world.
Much easier.
Yes.
So on the screen is our statement together. We are a welcoming community supporting our mutual quest for spiritual truth. And our invocation together.
There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotence.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to have about handshakes and hugs. Remember, this is brief because after the service we're going to have fellowship time and you can have more lengthy conversations then, okay? So we tend to be a huggy church. If you don't want to be hugged, put out your hand real fast and we'll shake your hand. Okay? My name is Tracy.
I don't really care.
A skinny one. Celebrate.
I'm glad you've been on my mind.
It's a step up.
It's a step up.
Yay!
I'm not sure why I have to clarify that, but apparently
You're walking all the way down.
But I got one here. I'm dying.
My daughter's just getting back from the state league. She got second place on the
Go hand in hand, we build our bridge together. On that other shore we'll stand, we shall cross that mighty river when we all get unified. We shall cross that mighty river by and by. We shall cross that mighty river when we all get unified. We will build our bridge together. On that other shore we'll stand. We shall cross that mighty river when we all get unified. We shall cross that mighty river by and by. One more time. We shall cross that mighty river if we all go hand in hand. We shall build our bridge together. On that other shore we'll stand. We shall cross that mighty river when we all get unified. We shall cross that mighty river by and by. Today's daily word, actually for today on Sunday, is divine order, but my heart just responded to yesterday's message, and I'm going to read yesterday's message today because I'm Marilyn and I can do that. So there. Besides, I was also a first grade school teacher and I can do anything. Anyway, if you were real curious about today's real message, unless you don't have, if you don't have a daily word of your own, hint, hint, then you go to the back and our 24/7 inspirational phone line is moi every day on there. It's a local number. But yesterday's daily word is home. I am home in the peace and presence of spirit. When I consider the act of coming home as finding a sacred feeling of comfort and safety, I know that I can rest and renew my spirit wherever I am. I don't need to go anywhere else to find peace. I'm already home. I am home in the peace and presence of spirit. I center my awareness in my heart, feeling the strength of divine love and peace that is ever present and always available. A deep sense of gratitude and serenity and security fills me. I am home in the peace and presence of spirit. No matter where I am or with whom, I feel a vibration of gratitude, peace, and love. I reflect those warm feelings into my surroundings with the hope of blessing others. I am home in the peace and presence of spirit. From 1 John chapter 4, verse 16, God is love, and those who abide in love abide in God, and God abides in them. Today, I am home in the peace and presence of Spirit. God bless it.
Chose it, isn't it? I just yelled at me, loved it.
This is one of the short songs that we do that I just love, so we'll do it a few times. It's just quick and catchy, and I'm sure that you've heard it before. No matter what, I'm gonna rise above. No matter what, I will be filled with love. No matter what, I let the light of God shine, shine, shine. No matter what, I'm gonna rise above. No matter what, I will be filled with love. No matter what, I let the light of God shine, shine, shine. No matter what, I'm gonna rise above. No matter what, I will be filled with love. No matter what, I let the light of God shine, shine, shine.
This is an old Elton John song.
Oh, yeah.
Called Friends. I hope the day will be a lighthouse. Friends found in every road. Can you ever think of any better way? Lost and weary travelers go, making friends for the world to see. Let the people know you got what you need. With a friend at hand, you will see the light. If your friends are there, then everything's alright. Never slip us by. Time will never get a shot of race. Friends together watch their charter fly. Making friends for the world to see. Let the people know you got what you need. With a friend at hand, friends are there, everything's alright.
Thank you, Jamie. That certainly is true. I just want to make mention that today's daily word message about divine order spoke to me when I was doing my morning prayers this morning. And I'll just mention the title of it. The order of spirit is always unfolding. So I meditated on that this morning. And I have a feeling that our speaker today is going to touch on this very thing. So welcome, Reverend Joanna Gabriel.
Thank you. How right you are. Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm back again. It's only been 2 weeks, but doesn't it seem like it's longer? We did the baptism, the wonderful, sweet baptism 2 weeks ago. Does it seem like a longer time?
Yes.
Yeah.
It does to me, too. Well, maybe one reason is because since I saw you, I went to La Jolla. some friends of mine gifted me with a little trip to La Jolla. I flew down last Saturday, a week ago, and flew back on Tuesday. So it was short, but it was very sweet. And they happen to live, are you familiar at all with the area of La Jolla? If you are, there's just one high-rise building that's on the water in La Jolla, and it's 21 stories, and my friends have their place on the 20th floor. Oh my. You know, somebody has to do it. And so I'm sitting up there, and so we're looking, you sit there and it's just all glass, and I'm looking out at the ocean, and you see every once in a while you'll see dolphins or a whale. It's so beautiful. And then right down on the beach itself, on the rocks, are where the seals come in, and they're kind of famous for being there. It's actually called Seal Cove or Seal Rock, Seal Cove there. And from December until May, the beginning part of May, the seals are having their seal pups right there on this beach. And it becomes their beach, and there's about 100 of them out there.
Wow.
And it is just magical to watch them and watch the little ones scooting down to the water and going in and playing and then coming back out. And the moms are still there because some of the pups are still nursing. And so it's just an amazing thing to watch. I mean, you could just spend hours, you know, looking at this amazing natural display of nature right there. And there's also a bit of controversy there because there are people that live there that don't think that the seals should have that beach. And so and that by golly, some years ago, somebody built that thing as the children's beach. And so it belongs to the children. Well, the seals decided that it was their beach. And so there's a controversy, and in fact, they had a big fight about it, and then finally it was decided that, okay, we'll give the beach to the seals for their birthing time between December and May 15th. But after that, the public can come on the beach. So interestingly enough, I'm watching as, you know, all these pups and mothers and babies, you know, are on the beach. And then these folks who now know that it's after May 15th, and by golly, this is a public beach, and so they decide to go right down on the beach, so that scares all the seals away, and they can't come on the beach. And so you would see these little seals poking their heads up, looking at the beach like, well, that's our beach. How come? What's going on? And of course, my friends had to keep me from going down and inviting folks off the beach because I was all ready to do it. Oh yes, they do have a rope there, and most of the time people stay behind the rope. But there were some that were just walking right down to the edge of the beach, looking at the seals, wondering why, you know, they weren't coming up there. I was so willing to tell them. But I didn't do it because I wanted to be able to come back here and share with all of you. The other thing we saw too was there was a huge rock that's straight down from where we're observing, and the older seals will go up on the rock and sun themselves for the day, you know, and they just nap and share. And come on in, sir. Come on in. Welcome. We're talking about the seals in La Jolla. Anyway, they will be sunning themselves in that, and they stay there until the tide comes in and the waves push them off the rock. And then it's time to go do something else. And they do. And I thought, wonder what they do. And so I was informed that what they do is they swim around, and that's their feeding time, and that's where they do a lot of swimming around and exploring, and they may find another rock down the way to lie on, but when this tide's in, the tide's in. And then when the tide goes out again, they come back up on the rock and spend their time there. And so I was watching all of this, just amazed. And what I started realizing is there's a huge lesson here. A huge lesson in watching the beings of nature behaving according to the ways of nature. They don't fight it. We didn't see anybody going, well, I'm not getting off the beach. Or, I wasn't ready to get off the rock yet. I'm not quite hungry. It's not time yet. Or, you know, I don't like how this works. You don't see any of that. You don't in any form of nature, do you? Nature unfolds and goes by the way nature is unfolding. It's like an understanding that it all works, that it's all perfect, that even if it's time to leave this life, it's all perfect. There's nothing to fear. And so while I was going crazy and wanting to disabuse the folks of their space on the beach, I realized that the seals aren't doing that, because in their simpler way, or in some ways you can look at it in their higher way, is they allow the evolution to occur through them as their experience. And what I really got clear about is so often in life for us, it's our fighting the currents of life is what causes our suffering. Isn't that true? And so I had an experience of that. We were watching the seals and just really focused on them, and all of a sudden this aid car comes rushing up to the edge of the beach, and these two guys jumped out that were lifeguards. And I hadn't even noticed that there were these two people in wetsuits and flippers, and stuff, that were, the rock we were watching was over here, and over here were these two people, and they were caught in a current that was swirling like this, and they couldn't get out. And the more they fought it, the more stuck they couldn't get out. And fortunately, we didn't see them, but fortunately somebody did and called the lifeguards. And so those guys just jumped out of there, and they had their little floats, and they just jumped it, because the waves are pretty strong coming in there. They just swam right out there and gave each person a float to come in on. And when they came in, they were so tired from fighting the current, they couldn't move. I thought one of them was maybe was part drowned because they couldn't move, but they were so exhausted from that fight that they weren't getting anywhere, that they were just down on the sand, and it was quite a while before they could begin moving again. And one of them was actually taken by stretcher. Was probably taken to the emergency room to be checked out. And I was thinking about that even goes along with the same thing, doesn't it? It's our fighting the current that's what takes us down. Isn't that true?
Yep.
It's so interesting to me, and it's such a simple rule, and yet most of us spend most of our lives trying to figure out a way to get around it. And there's a balance, isn't there? Because in the Maryland's Daily Word, it was talking about, and in the song we were singing too, about making it happen, getting clear about what it is we want and going for it, and going for that. But there's a difference between making it happen and allowing it to happen. Two very different things. And it's really easy to get them mixed up, isn't it? Questions or comments about that? I know none of you have never had this issue.
I was thinking about my song, Friends, and it talks about not liking the fact that you have to get older.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always kind of bothered me. It's like, you just need to go with it. You can't fight it. And that song, part of that song is fighting it. It's like saying, I want this. I'm mad that I have to grow up.
Yeah, good point.
Well, and Maryland says you don't have to grow up.
Right. But you know, that's really true, Jamie. Thank you for that. And our whole culture is based on fighting it, isn't it? All the things you need to do to fight getting older, and that we kind of collectively worship youth. How do we stop the wrinkles? How do we stop, whatever it is? That whole thing, it's like a collective game that we play about it, as if somehow doing that is going to keep us from advancing. And we're one of the only cultures I'm aware of on the planet that don't honor our elders. We kind of push them off. Let's see, is it going to be assisted living? Is it going to be independent living? Is it going to be, where's it going to be? Kind of thing. In other cultures, they revere their elders. The elders are held in high esteem. They're looked to for advice. And it only makes sense because who's going to know who the ones who've been here and have lived through it? But we tend to start placing that energy on the back burner, don't we? And so it has a lot to say about our struggle with allowing our life to advance, to become elders, to feel good and accepting and embracing ourselves and one another as we move forward and grow older. That it's not something to fear or hide or deny. Or Southern California is a very interesting place to people watch. It really is. And I would have to say that there's quite a movement to delay the signs of aging. Wow. It's really interesting. And there's lots of puffing and augmenting, and that's not to say we don't have that here, but I don't know, it seems more obvious down there. Maybe, I don't know, with bright colors or something. I don't know what it is. But it's quite obvious. And so it's interesting to watch and interesting to see the juxtaposition of all that kind of artificial maybe, or trying to hold back something right in the same space as these amazing beings of the seals and who are living in concert with life and are totally open to that next wave, whatever it is. So that is the kind of thing that I was thinking about, and of course I'm down there and I get this email from Cindy. Could I please have your talk title for Sunday? And I'm thinking, oh gosh. Okay. Oh, I want to talk about the seals because they really have a reminder for us. So just as Spirit in Spirit's wisdom would have it, I told this to Cindy, and Cindy has a story to share with you about those very seals. So would you, Cindy, come up?
Yes, I harassed her on her vacation. Not intentionally, but it just worked out well.
Yes.
I am one of those unique people from Southern California, born and raised. The first 32 years of my life was spent on the beaches in Southern California. And when she told me of her topic of the seals, it brought back a lot of really good, very precious memories. Because my mom and I would go to the beach and we would be watching the seals, and I've been to Newport Beach and Huntington Beach and Seal Beach and just all along Corona del Mar and whatnot. And it was true, you can watch them and they're just as carefree as they could possibly be. And it was just, while you're there, you're in that moment and you're with them. And it's like, that's fantastic. And so when she emailed back that that was the topic, one of the key memories is that my mom died when I was 17. 2 months into my senior year of high school. And my major life-altering event, to say the least. But my stepdad made arrangements for my mom to be cremated and buried at sea through Neptune Society. And this was in November, which is not typically a very pretty time of year in Southern California. But it was actually a pretty nice day. And my younger sister and I and my stepdad were out there, and they read this beautiful poem that was just beautiful. I'd never got a copy. I wanted one. But part of the ceremony was they tossed a wreath of flowers into the water, and then they poured the ashes through that wreath, and then they gave us a couple of flowers that we could then toss into it. So they read this beautiful, just heartbreaking poem. And they poured the ashes in, and just as my sister and I were ready to toss our flowers, a seal came up through the center of the wreath and out. And it was just, I mean, it was amazing. And, yeah. And that was my senior year of high school, and in our English class, they asked the seniors to write a poem or a little story that they memorialized, and I wasn't really much of a poet or a writer, and I mentioned it to Joanna. She goes, if you could find that would be awesome. And I happened to find it. So please be kind to a 17-year-old Cindy back in the day. But the poem is called The Seal, and to the memory of Judith Lee Lurkey, who was my mom, born in 1943 and died in 1981. I had to say goodbye to you. It wasn't by my choosing. I had lost something dear to me. You were what I was losing. You died, you see, and left me here all by myself on this earth, to fight alone without the one I had known and loved since birth. Our life as it was had been good, but a bit too rough, I feel. And I asked of you, if you could, to come back as a seal. A seal's life looked to me so fun, so casual and so free. That was what I wanted for you and what you wanted for me. I walked along the beach that day when you were taken from me, and there I saw a little seal that didn't run from me. I walked up to this little seal and patted him on the nose, and then I sat with the seal until he began to doze. I walked away feeling quite content, and this is how I feel. Your life as a human had been spent, and you've come back as a seal.
Isn't that just the sweetest and the most perfect? And that's the gift, isn't it? For them to send the ashes through the wreath, and then the seal comes up through the wreath to remind us of the perfection of life, the joy of life, that it's all connected, that there is nothing to fear. And what more important message could there be for us here this morning, and here for us collectively in our world that looks pretty wacky? Trusting the process, rising up, knowing that that seal's going to come through those ashes. It is. And the way we can support that or invite that is trusting the process and living in the moment and doing our own seal life. By finding the current in the moment, like for example, on the day that you were expecting the sun to shine and it didn't. We're kind of used to that. So we have lots of things we can do around that. Or when you thought the check was coming and it didn't. So what are you going to do now? Instead of the ain't it awful part, use it as the opportunity to be lifted up. Remember, we've always said, nothing exists to take us down. Everything exists to lift us up. It's our willingness to choose the way we're going to look at it. How are we going to see it? Because there's the power. There's the power right there. And these blessed seals remind us what to choose. Yeah, they're smelly. They are awesome. And they're beautiful. And there's so much out there to remind us constantly of that. And we here in the Pacific Northwest are very blessed, aren't we? Because we see reminders huge in every direction, every day. So we can lead the way in terms of holding the consciousness to lift it up collectively. Because we're all one, it makes a difference. As we lift ourselves up, all is lifted up. At the other end of the country is lifted up. And oh, I bet they would really appreciate that. or the other end of the world, or the other end of the galaxy. All are impacted by our choice to lift ourselves up. Questions or comments about that? So let's take, yes, Marilyn.
I just keep thinking of our line that we say at the end of the service, wherever I am, God is.
Home.
And all is
Home, Marilyn. Just like you said. Home.
home.
Mhm. That is home. Absolutely. And it's our awareness of that that makes all the difference, that does the healing work. That's the healing work right there, is when we get that and start applying it in the moment. It doesn't have to be some big, complicated thing. It can just be in the moment when you're in the fairy line. Or you're in the grocery store. Why is it that no matter what happens, the one I get in,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You know that.
I know it.
The opportunity is, and I try to train myself, and I'm not going to lie, I don't do it all the time. I don't even know what the percentage is. 60, 40, 50, 50, I'm not going to say for sure. But that time that I wasn't planning on and now I've got, that's my moment to breathe and remember the truth of who I am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Indeed. To say thank you. To make a connection with that place in me, home, where I am, God is. And to bring that up, bring that into my consciousness. That's power, my friends. And you and I have just been gifted in this line is to take that time to remember that and to bring it forward. And watch what happens the rest of your day. Because what kind of day you're going to have if you're doing this? Right?
My job.
Mm-hmm. And many of us deal with big challenges. There's health challenges, there's money challenges, there's relationship challenges. No one is here standing up here saying it's easy. There are moments when it's easy, but if we take advantage of the moments when it's easy and practice when it's easy, how much more likely are we going to be able to call it forward when it's not? Right? Exercising that muscle. Right? Yeah. So let's call to mind the seals. And you may not have seen the seals in La Jolla, but you may have seen them right out here on our own. We've got them. We've got harbor seals in the Sound.
Yep.
There's seals all over the place. And they snore. Did you know that when they're sleeping? They're so cute. If it feels comfortable, close your eyes. And maybe you can bring to mind that a vision of the seals, whether they're playing and frolicking in the water or they're sleeping on the beach or wherever they are. And maybe for right now, they could be a symbol for you of just being in the moment, of going with the current, of being lifted up into the next highest possibility, whatever that looks like, whether or not it was what you expected or what you wanted. The power is using what is. And so breathing and allowing. Breathing and allowing. And if you have a particular challenge right now, let's hand it off to the seal. Maybe the seal will show us a new perspective, a new possibility. That the next wave that pushes it right off the rock pushes you right in to your highest good. Whatever that is. And maybe as you allow yourself to feel the peace, feel the healing, feeling the lifting up, maybe there's someone you know who could really use this right now, who could really use a moment with a seal, who could really use a reminder that they have everything they need in this moment, no matter how challenging it is. They have everything they need. And maybe if they can't know that in this moment, we can know it for them. And so if it feels comfortable, you can say their names aloud right now so that we can all hold them with you. And for our spiritual family, and for our friends and co-workers, and for our community, and for the community at large, our country, its leaders, the world, its leaders, the universe, and every star in it. That in this moment of now, as we open to the truth of us in love and light, as love and light, all life is lifted up. And for the opportunity to be reminded of this truth of us, we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
This is another John Denver song. I'm sure you all know how much I like John Denver. I talk about him every week. Anyway, it's called Rhymes and Reasons. To me of sadness and the coming of the winter, fear that is within you now that seems to never end, and the dreams that have escaped you and the hope that you've forgotten, and you tell me that you need me now, you want to be my friend, and you wonder where we're going, where's the rhyme, where's the reason, and that you cannot accept. It is here we must begin to seek the wisdom of the children and the graceful way of flowers in the wind. For the children and the flowers are my sisters and my brothers. Their laughter and their loveliness would clear a cloudy day, like the music of the mountains and the colors of the rainbow. They're a promise of the future and a blessing for today. Though the cities start to crumble and the towers fall around us, the sun is slowly fading and it's colder than the sea. It is written from the desert to the mountains, they shall lead us by the hand and by the heart.
colors of the rainbow, their promise of the future and a blessing for today. For the children and the flowers are my sisters and my brothers. Their laughter and their loveliness, the clear cloudy day. And the song that I am singing is a prayer to non-believers. Come and stand beside us, we can find a better way.
Thank you. John Denver was a true poet.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to have a time of offertory here, and so I invite you to take your gift in your hand, and as you're preparing your love offering, think about how blessed you are. And as you're writing your check or giving your gift, send your blessings out. Bless this congregation so that this church can continue to be a resource to the community and to ourselves, really. All right, and I will light the candle here. If you would like to light a candle either for yourself or a loved one you're thinking of, that will be available for you. And also the candle over here in the burning bowl if you'd like to release something into the flame. And while this is going on, we can be singing I Am So Blessed. The words are on the screen.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful. I am so blessed, I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed.
so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. So if I could have the usher come forward, and Marilyn, would you be willing to come forward? And we will, as a congregation, bless this offering. The blessing is on the screen. So together, can we say this?
I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude.
Thank you, God. Thank you. Okay. And just as a reminder, if you would like supportive prayer, Marilyn is our chaplain of the day, and she will be available following the service if you would like some supportive prayer time with her. Okay. Good news. Does anybody have any? Oh, it's a June birthday reminder. Does anybody have a birthday in June?
Joe's birthday is this month too. Joe.
Joe who?
Caucus.
No, it isn't. His birthday's in December.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was married to him, so I know.
I know, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Okay. But anyway, we're going to celebrate the people who are having June birthdays. So, shall we sing the birthday song together?
Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joanna. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you. You're wonderful. God is blessing you now.
So that means birthday cake at fellowship time. Oh boy. All right. Any good news to share?
I do.
Yes.
My daughter is up in Tacoma at a Special Olympic state games for the weekend, and she got second place in the 100-meter dash. And they're all teams up there this weekend, all Special Olympics. They do track, they do soccer, and they're all up there doing their games. And she comes home tonight.
Out of breath.
Yeah, she's
Out
out
of
of breath.
breath.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, Jamie.
I sing with a group called the Puget Soundsters. We used to sing at, we used to rehearse at our church. Anyway, our spring concert is today at 3 o'clock at Summit Avenue Presbyterian in Bremerton. And we had free, and there's refreshments after.
It's free?
It's free, and there are
And you don't
refreshments,
pay.
and always free.
There you go.
And,
3 o'clock where
3
again?
o'clock, Summit Avenue Presbyterian.
Summit Avenue
It's right on the
Presbyterian?
it's right on the, just as you come into Bremerton from Port Orchard. It's up on the hill, up on Summit.
Summit Avenue.
On Summit Avenue?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And free is a very good price.
Well,
All
yeah.
right, yes,
Oh, that'll be
yes.
fun.
All right, just two things. We just wanted to remind you of our monthly Peninsula Photo Club meetings. So that's on the bulletin board. We have a great time. Doesn't matter what you shoot with, or even if you're just interested. Join us and check it out. And then details regarding the workshop that'll be on June 17th when we have Reverend Felicity here. There's flyers on the table, so if you're interested in that, please take a look at that as well.
Yes, Ron?
We also had the viability team meeting after refreshments.
Okay, and Nora?
Yes.
Today.
Well, getting towards the end of school, my favorite school to work at is my grandkids' school. I work there earlier in the week, and they got a hold of me and says, well, we need you in the special ed room for the rest of the year. Can you do that? So,
Yay.
Wunderbar. Wunderbar. Okay, we have an outreach to the community. We have a program to provide lunches for the homeless, and people take the bag and fill it up with non-perishable items, little lunch items that people can carry with them. Is anybody willing to take the bag?
I said, I think I said last week I'd do it this week.
Okay, Jamie, thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
And Barbara, we're both doing it.
There you
Well, it's always a joint effort, right? Jamie and Barbara. Wonderful, thank you. Okay, I think we're ready to, we have, yes, Sunday school. Let's welcome in our child of the day.
You are walking in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God.
Joyce, can you tell us about our child of the day?
This is my new friend, and his name is William Jett. He likes to be called Jet or William. So he goes by anything. He's good. So I want you to hold up your picture. Hold on to the Rocky. Oh, hold on to Rocky. He'll fall off.
Oh, no.
That's okay. He has an eyeball explosion. We'll fix him later. So this is the story. This is my friend Pink Peacock. My friend the peacock is a girl. She is really nice. She plays with other peacocks nicely and is not rude. When she goes up, she wants to be a police officer. And her friend is Rocky, and he's a boy. End of story. The book we read today was I Believe in Me, a book of affirmations, and that's how we found the peacock.
That's wonderful. You know, I wish I'd had that book when I was his age. That's a wonderful
It is a
idea.
wonderful book, and his Mimi brought him today. It's very special to me.
Okay. Well, we're going to send Jet,
Blessings.
William Jet William. We're going to give him a blessing here. It's on the screen. Can we say this together?
Yes.
We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are.
Did you see that smile? Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. All right, well, it's time to stand up, grab a hand. We're going to sing our closing song and have our closing prayer.
If my week was
Promise? Promise? I don't want to go down with you.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.